Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. I'm doing a series of spotlights on remarkable exit planning advisors from across the country. And joining me on this segment is Bob Bubser. He's with FPA Wealth Management. Bob, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Mark. Good to be here.
Bob, tell us a little bit about your work and specifically tell us who are the types of clients that you specialize in working with and helping.
Okay, I am a former business owner, and my experience was in the auto parts distribution world. Started when I was 16 as a driver, advanced throughout the company. We bought another store. Started out, there was one store. By the time, fast forward 35 years, I was a partner. We owned 150 stores. We bought about 200 in the process and closed or consolidated some. Sold the company in 2012 to a Fortune 500 company. And I retired. And I didn't like it. So within a month, I reinvented myself. And now I do this and I help other businesses. My niche would be the auto parts industry. Exit businesses when they're ready and prepare them for the dubious task of mentally and physically getting through a process that isn't easy for most people.
Terrific. So auto industry business owners. Now you were one of them, so you went through this. Kind of let me know. They're great at starting the business, running it, growing it from day to day, month to month. But what about when it comes to selling it? Do they even know where to start? What was it like for you, and how do you find other auto industry business owners feel?
Right. Well, personally, our company, we were large, and I had there were several partners. I was a minority partner, but we had 1,600 employees, and we had 150 locations. So that's a pretty good sized company. We were the 9th largest auto parts distributor in the United States. Who I'm working with are store owners who might own a very large store or two up to a chain of stores. And I'll tell you, as good as they are, as smart as they are, running a business, guarantee you, they've never sold one. And they have no idea where to start or how to do it, how to prepare. And there's a lot to it. So I try to help them through the process. And that's what I've been doing as far as the exit plan goes.
Since they don't know what they don't know, what is like the first question that they ask of you? What's the first thing, most important thing on their mind that keeps them up at night?
Can I afford it? You know, I'm ready, or I want to be ready soon. What can I do to prepare for my eventual exit? My kids aren't interested, or even if they are interested, there's still some planning to do. And there is a series of 1,000 questions that we can ask them. You know, or are you ready? What does your family feel about this? What does your staff look like? Meaning, maybe they could be a potential buyer of the business. If somebody else buys it from an outside, a private equity or a major supplier or suitor would want your people to go. Do you have a strong staff? You know, mom and pop businesses where mom and pop are the business, they want to sell it and retire. They're not worth anything because you're buying the business. And if the people who are making all the decisions and doing all the sales and cutting all the checks are going to retire at the point of sale, there's not much for a suitor to buy.
So in your industry, are there any, preconceived notions or that people hold, or myths or misconceptions people hold in regards to selling a business? What do you hear?
Some of the unfortunate misconceptions is some of the smaller companies think it's worth more than it's worth. But most people don't know what their company is worth. Sometimes it's worth more than they think it's worth. But getting a handle on what is my business worth is one of the steps that we need to go through. So the assumption sometimes is I do $5 million in business. I can get millions of dollars of goodwill, but I never show a profit because if I have any, I expense it out. I try to not pay taxes on it. So you've got to show a profit if you expect someone to pay you goodwill.
Now, we're just coming out of a pandemic, and this is always an interesting topic because in different industries, it's kind of counterintuitive how it acted. How did the pandemic affect the auto industry, considering the car shortage and all that? I imagine people are actually working on their cars more, for example. How did it affect it? For good or for bad?
Interesting question, and I'll tell you why. When the country shut down late March. The auto parts industry, meaning the parts stores and the repair shops, were deemed essential businesses. So they stayed open, but the public wasn't driving out to get the cars fixed, nor were they going out to parts stores. We were all nervous. We didn't know what to expect. So for a couple of months, sales dove into they tanked by 50, 60, 80%. In short order, probably 2 months later, as people got a little more comfortable getting out and fixing their own cars, and in many cases having their cars fixed, business started to pick up and really quickly started to boom because people weren't going to work. They're working on their own cars. They're not spending money on going out to eat because the restaurants were closed, and it was good. In the meantime, the PPP program came around, and the smart business owners applied for a PPP loan, not knowing that things were going to get better. So they applied, and in some cases got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe $1 million plus. Turns out by the end of the year, they had a great year. And the next year was typically their best year ever. They didn't have to repay the money if they used it appropriately. And so it really boosted some bottom lines and gave them a real surge in inventory buying power. And it was good. But part two, they've been very frustrated with the supply chain. So the business has changed. There's so many back orders and so much availability issues that repair shops are used to calling up a parts store and saying, send me a brake job for an 04 Honda and putting it up in the air to get. Now they have to schedule this, make sure the parts are there before they do the work. So it's been a big change in the industry.
Sounds like it has its challenges, but it kind of linked to that question. My next question for you is, for those auto industry businesses considering selling today, is it a good time to sell now, considering all of that?
Actually, it's a great time to sell. If you're showing a profit, and most stores show a profit, but they're having their best years. So if you're selling on a multiple of EBITDA, you're selling off your best year. If you're selling your inventory with a goodwill number, with your receivables and other assets, it's a good year because there's been such price increases that your inventory value has gone up. There's also, on the demand side, the big hitters who want to grow their business are looking for businesses. So there's a lot of dry powder looking to acquire good businesses. And part two, more important than ever before, to buy a company, let's say you have 100 employees who come to work every day, punch a clock or go to their desk, a private equity or a suitor that means more than ever. If you're going to start a startup and you want to hire 100 people, there's nobody looking for work, especially not trained in the industry. So it's a very good time for auto parts stores, particularly to sell their company.
Bob, you gave us a little bit of your background coming from that field, being in the industry. Is that what inspired you? Like, what inspired you to start helping others and get into it in the role that you're in now? How'd you get started?
I got into the financial field after I had retired, and actually my wife kicked me out of the house. It ruined her routine with me trying to hang around the house. So the inspiration really is I'm working a lot with old customers of mine. So I've got friendships, relationships. They need help, and it's very rewarding to help somebody do something that they can't really do on their own. So I'm bringing a lot of value. That's really my driving force, is to help these guys who helped me for many years. And there's additional people, but that's my motivation because of, I know how much help they need. And I know when I give good support, and they really appreciate it. So that's what's getting me into deeper and deeper.
I can imagine that's rewarding and a really great feeling. Bob, Before I ask you my last question, is there anything I didn't think to ask that you feel is important to share with a business owner considering exiting their business now or soon, that you can share with folks?
Well, you can go on the internet and look for different people to help you sell your business. There is a designation. I'm a financial advisor, wealth advisor, and I've got a SEPA designation, which is a certified exit planning agent. It's approved by FINRA, the SEC. It is a designation that you're an expert in exit planning. So I would certainly touch base with somebody like that. to get their 2 cents because they've been trained in it, in addition to, more often than not, have experience similar to mine, probably because that's what we're interested in. That's one thing I would say.
Bob, this has been terrific. For folks listening now that would love to speak with you, considering exiting their business and could use your help, how can they find you, connect with you, and learn more?
I can give you my the website for financial planning is www.fpawealthmgmt.com. And my office number is 856-296-3955.
This has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
All right, great. Nice talking to you, Mark.
That was Bob Bubser with FPA Wealth Management. And this segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com, the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses and practices, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.